All right, everybody, thanks for joining us for another episode of Rockland's News. We have all things sports with our sports extraordinaire, Thomas Brady, a.k.a. Tom Brady, sports performance coach in Rockland County, New York, and he's going to be talking all things sports. Tom, thanks for joining us again on Rockland News. Go for it.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Tom. And what an amazing week in the sports scene. You know, Rockland obviously included, the whole state of New York. We're just all still going crazy over the Knicks. To see the celebration yesterday was phenomenal. Hopefully a lot of people got down there, to experience it in person, because it definitely is a once in a lifetime event to experience that type of parade. As you get older, you kind of fan away from that. But when your kids are fans, all of a sudden you find yourself, a lot of parents were dragging their kids back down who wanted to go, and they wanted to experience it with them. But, a championship after 53 years is celebrated on every level. It doesn't matter if you're the 8-year-old fan who thinks this is going to happen every year, or you're the 60-year-old fan saying, hey, you better appreciate this because you don't know when. So, great times just to be a sports fan in our area.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
So, with the Knicks and everything and the championship feeling, we want to give a special thanks out for the live podcast that we did the other night down in Noco Joe's. Noco Joe's barbecue and sports bar down in Piermont. Joe Agnello, the owner. What an amazing place, right? I mean, that was my first time there. I believe your first time there.
It was, yeah. I was amazed
facility.
by it.
Yeah, I could see myself, if there's ever one of those nights where you're like, hey, is there anything to do? Hey, there's a game on. Great. That's kind of the place that Rockland's going to lean to go watch a game, relax. The food's already great. He's been in business for 16 years on a catering end.
Mm-hmm.
So you already know about the food. The atmosphere was phenomenal. So what a place. And we thank them, wholeheartedly for being our host and allowing us to be down there. So thank you, Noco Joe's.
Yeah. And shout out to my friends over at the BSPN, the Business Success Professional Networking Group, that have been in for literally 20 years. And I had a bunch of guys over there, Andy, Greg, who else was there? I think Mike Paris was there, that just came to watch the game. And it was a very festive atmosphere there, Tom. It was pretty damn amazing.
Yeah. So let's hope we things went well on their end with us, and hopefully we do that again sometime soon. Going live down there before the next championship, in our area. Mm-hmm. So, so coming up this week, it's going to be a special week. We're going to have a special podcast being put up sometime midweek by next week. It will be the full story on the Gaelic football team that I reported about, that my daughter just happens to be on. We are going to Ireland Monday evening. They do have a schedule for the week, but they follow through, and the big tournament is next Saturday. So I got interviews, with the coaches, a couple of the players who were, bold enough, brave enough to hop on. They've already volunteered their time. So we give you, a full outlook of what it was like, not only the last 3 months, but give everybody the update of what's going on day by day over there as the hours get a little closer for these girls and they realize the magnitude of what they're up against. This is a national tournament over there, big stuff. So I think once we get foot on the ground over there, it's really going to hit them. When we go to some of these other facilities and practice and have some scrimmages Tuesday and Wednesday evening, it's going to be great. And I can tell you this from watching the team, they're ready. It's amazing to see, 14-year-olds mature so quickly and grow together in about a 3.5 month period. So that's been so exciting. If you're a sports fan, you're going to love this. I equate this to like the Olympic teams, the old school Olympic teams before the pros, I'm sorry, where, everybody was good, but blending, good players into the team atmosphere is always hard. And, we always watch as sports fans, we always still follow the story of the 1980 Olympic hockey team, USA hockey team, and how, Coach Herb Brooks put that team together. The parallels to what I've seen the last 3 months they're right on par, and it's absolutely amazing. So I look forward to bringing everybody the information, and then going live from over there. So hopefully we'll be able to set that up, and I can give you boots on the ground reporting, and we'll take everything from there.
Amazing. Yeah. And while you're there, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a little tough to make sure that everybody stays on point before the game or games because it's a beautiful place in Ireland. So you don't want them checking out too much of the landscape over there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
At least
And
not
that's the other
before,
part.
like
Like,
maybe afterwards, after the celebration, ticker tape parade and
exactly.
everything, you know.
Well, maybe we get one here in Rockland for them. We don't know. Maybe we could push for that with some of the people in Orangetown. But it's amazing their schedule. Like if I was to show you their schedule for the week, we stay in the same hotel as them, but the team stays in a separate wing together.
Hmm.
Your kid doesn't even stay with you. They wake up, have breakfast as a team. They do not have breakfast with their families. They have a team meeting. You get to socialize with them for a little bit, and then they're off to the fields early afternoon. They have a quick practice. They have a scrimmage at night, and then at night we get to be with them.
Hmm.
So they have a curfew. They will have team bonding events each night after the game. Whether it's a movie or something. So even though we're there, we get to spend limited time, with your child from basically Tuesday through Friday, and then Saturday, like you just said, after it's all over, we'll see what happens, and then we're gonna really just really put the pedal to the metal in enjoying the experience we had.
I'm so glad that you're on this live stream podcast. And again, with Tom Brady, Thomas Brady, performance sports coach in Rockland County and reporting on all things sports. I'm very glad that you're tuned into the sports part of this because I have no idea. It's just, I'm glad. I know I am. I really am.
Yeah, and like I said, it's something that sports fans, like when the Olympics come around, if you're a sports fan of any sport, you find yourself always watching the Olympics, and you're seeing sports you've never heard of. You don't know what the rules are, but you find yourself watching it for a half hour to an hour, and you have no clue why. But you see the great thing about the Olympics is people taking pride in their country, and you love to see that. It's healthy competition, but at the same time, there's camaraderie between the athletes. It's not like we're going through wartime that we're always seeing we're going through. Like
Mhm.
it's great to see this type of stuff and to see what I've witnessed and been a part of the last 3.5 months. I'm telling you, it's right on par with like an Olympic team getting ready for the Olympics, and
Mhm.
it's been phenomenal. I know my daughter is, she's up and down the last couple of days. I could see the nerves coming, and that weren't there a couple of weeks ago, where it was just a heavy training. So, and like I said, I think when we get boots on the ground over there,
Mhm.
I could see the
Not
excitement
heels
and
on the ground,
nerves
boots
never
on the
come.
ground,
Oh,
right? Not
yeah.
heels on
Well,
the
yeah, this is
ground. Just saying.
yeah. Even though it's a girls' team, they're ready though.
Yes, exactly.
This is a tough team. They have scrimmage boys teams. They've 14-year-old girls. We have scrimmage 16-year-old guys teams. So these coaches have really put them, right to the grind to get them ready for this, and it's absolutely, like I said, I'm happy to be reporting from the inside to give people who love sports the inside of this, and how the RGAA down in Orangeburg, they do this. This is this New York Phala team. This is an annual tournament, not only for the Gaelic football but also for the camogie end.
Mhm.
So the kids can, who make the camogie team go over there. We lost 3 of our girls already that are over there because camogie's the week before.
Uh-huh.
So they already left. They're over there for 2 weeks. They played this week the camogie tournament, and then next week we hook up with them who are already over there for the football tournament. So the really good athletes who are playing both sports, they're gone for 2 weeks.
Now, if I can ask you this, we had some conversations offline, and not to go too deep into this, but have the regulations changed over the past 10 years with this particular sport, especially in Ireland?
So funny you say that. Yes, and what has happened. there are a couple of different levels that, the tournament they play in. So what has happened to the New York team, about, I forget when it was, late 90s, early 2000s, when New York started putting a team together to go play in this tournament. They went over there and didn't fare too well. So they were new, but also the sport is here. That this is Ireland's sport. So teaching the girls here was tough, but the evolution of it, as some guys moved over here, moved their families from Ireland over here, who had played when they're younger, and now all of a sudden they started building up the club and the program down at the GAA. Well, naturally, the good athletes who took to it, the teams got better. So what has happened over the last 10 years, the New York team has actually gone over there and done very well. I believe the number of 6 out of 9. 6 out of the last 9 tournaments, the New York team has won it.
It's impressive.
So, yeah, phenomenal. So now what the pushback has been, because the difference between 14, 15-year-old girl could be great. So they allowed the New York team to only bring the 14-year-olds this year. And
got it.
There was a little pushback, a little bit of, why are you doing this to us? So it seems like there's a political end to everything, you step in these days. So we're going over there with 14-year-olds playing one level down. But, if you take a girl who turned 14 yesterday and you're putting her up against a girl who's 15 but turning 16 tomorrow, the physical difference is great.
Right.
You have a slow developing 14-year-old against a fast developing 15-year-old, 16-year-old, there's a size difference, there's a physical advantage. So
yeah,
our coaches, knowing that, and they were told that way in advance, that's why they put them through this training schedule. And both coaches played over there when they were young. They were born and raised in Ireland. They grew up playing the sport in their clubs. They came over here. And obviously now we have coaches like that. That's why the program in New York has gotten better as people come over teaching their home sport. So we've scrimmaged boys teams that were 16-year-old boys and a 14-year-old girl, a huge physical difference. But the girls, I'm telling you, they held their own.
Nice.
And it's incredible. Their team bonding events that we've had, they've gone bowling in the city, but other type of team bonding events, they've run 5Ks together, so these coaches are no joke. And, it's amazing. And, the girls are slightly up against it, but, they're ready. I can tell you that they're ready. The coaches are ready. The trainers are ready. And they're ready to do this. They're ready to hop on that plane and put their best foot forward next week.
Should be amazing. And to your point about just, 14 and 15-year-olds, I remember when I was a freshman back at Albertus Magnus and we were in the weight room, and I mean, I couldn't lift 40 pounds. It was bad.
Right.
The next year I was able to, I think, maybe lift 80, 100 pounds. I mean, I was still a pipsqueak, relatively speaking, but the difference in just muscle growth and retention, that is definitely a thing. So I find it interesting, especially when just going back to the basketball analogy before, we talk about the Knicks and so on and so forth, watching it from, 30, 40 feet away where the cameras are angled toward, so you can see the entire court, is one thing. But when you watch the replays and you see like a small point guard like Brunson, like leaning in on a power forward, I mean, the amount of muscle exertion in order to move a guy like that is off the charts. So you have like even a 10% or a 15% increase in muscle size or growth. I mean, when you're right there against your competitor, it definitely makes a difference no matter what age you are.
Oh, it's a huge difference. And we've seen, basically a paradigm shift through sports on every level. And that's why you see now the high school athlete graduating at 18, 19 years old, where it used to be 17, 18 years old. So kids are getting held back at an early age. Some high schools are putting together 5-year programs. So just to make sure the kids have the same advantage their freshman year in college, the way you were just talking about your freshman year of high school. So back in my day, I played college football at 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't see that. They're 19 years old heading into their freshman year of college. And the physical difference, let me tell you, between my freshman year of college and the start of my junior year, I was two different human beings. So if I would have been a freshman at that, I don't know what I could have accomplished. But, to your point, it's a huge difference, but it's happening on every level.
Mm-hmm.
So not to say, and not to get anybody, stirred up about it, but it's happening everywhere. So the adjustment has to happen on parents' end, on coaches' end.
Yeah.
And we really just have to accept it.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense. What other things are happening in the world of sports right now?
Well, right now we got, obviously, we got a shutdown in all the high school sports. We do have a few AAU teams getting ready to go. We have one of the big things for all the coaches out there, anybody listening, there is a coaching opening that we've been made aware of. Clarkstown North varsity girls basketball. There's a coaching opening for the 2026-2027 season. So any of the teachers out there, any of the coaches with experience, by all means, think about contacting Clarkstown North, because it's a school I'm associated with. So I'm a big fan. Obviously, my girls play basketball, so I would love to see their next coach come in and just be somebody that's ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot going on, and there's going to be a lot of movement happening over the summer, getting ready for the JV and the varsity teams that are going to be playing all over Rockland County. Should be pretty amazing. And Tom, I want to thank you for being at the pregame show. And just to those of you that are listening, Tom Brady, again, Thomas Brady, sports performance coach in Rockland County, New York, and he'll give his contact information in a moment. But he was the one that was the architect of that pregame show before the Knicks victory this past Saturday over at No Code Joe's in Piermont, and it was pretty cool. You had a few guests on the show. Who were they?
Yeah, I had Coach Kerr Fordillis. He's the girls NIAC varsity basketball coach, and we've already if you don't know anything about the school or whatever, take a quick listen into the podcast and listen to what he's done to that program down there.
Mm-hmm.
He took a program that was winning nothing, and now they went to the state semifinals this past year, and he only loses one girl. So,
Mm-hmm.
We've put them on our team to watch for 2026, 2027. And he's excited about what's happening, and he's taking the next step in building the program with, filtering all the way down to the JV and hopefully a freshman team. Because NIAC, their numbers are actually very small. So to have a successful program with small numbers, they didn't even have a JV team.
Huh.
Every high school has a JV team, but they didn't. He had an 8th grader playing on the team, and he went to the state semifinals. So, so Coach Curve does a great job. He's coached many different sports, great leader, obviously. And, again, if you're in the NIAC area, I'm pushing for your girls to sign up for basketball, whether 5th, 6th, 7th grade. He's rolling out a program to help everybody, and start. He wants to get his hands on those 6th, 7th, 8th graders, make sure they're ready for the high school level,
Mm-hmm.
and build up the program to a national level.
Wow, that's amazing. Other guests, and do you have any guests that have been on the show or are coming up soon?
Yeah. So I always keep in touch with the Albertus Magnus basketball coach, Pat Buckley,
Mm-hmm.
and he is in the midst of transitioning from the girls varsity head coach over to the boys. So with that transition, obviously he's going to be tough. He's leaving, a program that he built up, and he won 3 high school state championships in a row. However, on the flip side of that, he's got the opportunity of a lifetime now, being a successful coach. He went to Albertus. He's a family person from the school. Now he has the opportunity to coach his son. So you really can't fault him for jumping on that opportunity. But yet Albertus as a school, they were able to hire a coach. They pulled a girl in who is an Albertus Magnus. She played at Albertus, so she's within the Albertus family. So kudos to them. We look forward to getting her on the show in the early fall for our hopefully a basketball preview that we throw together.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you again for being on the show. And for those of you that want to get in touch with Tom Brady, the email address is strengthcoachtjb@gmail.com. And again, Strength Performance Coaching in Rockland County, New York, and also the host of All Things Sports, which you'll hear pretty much every Friday. And we might have some more special events, especially as the sports seasons in Rockland County start to regenerate for the new year. And Tom, thanks for being on the show today.
Yes, thank you, Tom. And yeah, look out for that podcast. We'll be putting something up by midweek next week.
Oh, it's up. It's up. That you talking about the pod? I'm sorry, Tom. You talking about the podcast for Ireland or the one from last week?
Oh, no, from Ireland. I'm
okay.
doing something specifically, just on the team. So we'll have a couple of coaches interviews, couple player interviews, and I'm trying to get some of the parents, because I want to give everybody the real feel of what it's like to be part of that team. And hopefully we get that up by about midweek, and then hopefully either Friday or Saturday we get to stream a little bit live with the last second feelings from the coaching staff, if any players are available, and then a little bit of live reporting Saturday from the actual event.
Cool. Yeah, I can make a few recommendations for podcast boards. Definitely the Roadcaster. There's like a little mini one that you saw the podcast board that we brought to No Code Joe's, but the mini is like this little small thing that's maybe like about a third of the size, and you could set it up in like 5 minutes, start recording. It's amazing.
Perfect.
Yeah, man. Hey, so thanks for being on the show. And for those of you that are listening, thank you for joining us on Rockland News, All Things Sports on Fridays with strength coach Thomas Brady, aka Tom Brady. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tom.
You got it, man. I always love adding that in at the end. Have a great day, everybody. Oh, and also we're coming back with the news in just a few moments.